my guest is Jay Payleitner.
Now, with the internet and what the culture's doing, you can't protect your daughter except by equipping her to make the choices herself.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today my guest is Jay Payleitner. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, Jeanne. Great to be here.
Good.
It is, really, it is. Totally it is.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of experience as one of the top freelance Christian radio producers in the whole United States. That includes Josh McDowell Radio, Today's Father, Jesus Freaks Radio for the Voice of the Martyrs, Project Angel Truth, Chuck Colson, and so many others. Thank you for coming on my show.
Well, no. What a privilege. I was in secular advertising, and just God called me into Christian radio production, and you know what? They pay me for that, I've learned so much. I've grown so much. Imagine sitting with Josh McDowell for 14 years, producing his radio program.
I bet you learned a few things.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Well, you have a book out called 52 Things Daughters Need from Their Dads. What fathers can do to build a lasting relationship, and that is so important. So many families, the dads are, even if they're not absent, they might be absent in their minds and in their actions.
And it breaks my heart. Psalm 127, we know that verse, children are a burden from the Lord. No! Children are a gift from the Lord.
Yeah,
and when I'm talking to dads, a group of dads, I look out and I throw that verse up on the screen maybe sometimes, and their eyes, their kids are good news. So sometimes with little babies we don't know exactly how to deal with it, and there's all kinds of challenges, but accept the gift. That's job one, is accept the gift.
Yeah.
So Psalm 127, that, what if you got a, we're getting too spiritual here all of a sudden, jumping right in.
Fine with me.
But if the Lord builds a house and doesn't build a house, and that image of the archer, children born to a young man are like arrows in the hands of a warrior.
Yeah.
So dads who want an image to bank on, to meditate on, even, think of your kids as arrows, and they're on your back. You carry them, and then you pull them out, and you sharpen them nice and true. And so they're straight, and you make sure that they're strong and worthy, and then you pick a target out that's exactly right for them, because each kid is different.
Right.
And then you pull them close to your heart. Stand firm. Let them fly, and then it was so much fun that you do it with all your other kids too. So I'm getting off track here, but yeah, that image of an archer. What a great thing that is for dads.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, you wrote a book about being a dad to daughters. Why did you choose that particular topic?
Well, I did 52 things kids need from a dad. And we sold over 100,000 copies, doing very well. Lots of, and as I'm talking to dads, they do the boy thing, the dad thing, the testosterone thing. We can do that. Men can. And also the tragedy is that dads, guys... You know this, I'm sorry. Guys will look in the mirror and say, not too bad, suck in their gut and look pretty good. But a young lady, 8 years old, 15 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, they look in the mirror and they focus on the, an inch, like, I'm so ugly. It's like, are you kidding me? And your husband thinks you're beautiful. Did you realize that?
Yes, he keeps telling me.
Well,
that.
there you go.
Isn't that nice?
And my daughter is just beautiful. And every dad listening today, his daughter's beautiful. But why do they think that? They look in the mirror, and so that's what where my heart is that dads, we have to kind of enter our daughter's world, so that we know what she's going through, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you have some interesting ways in the book of entering their world. I love the picture that they used on the front. I don't know if you all can see this, but...
Well, it's a stock photo. I don't know this little girl. It's not me, that kind of thing.
I know.
And my daughter is 3,000 times more beautiful than that little girl.
But it's just the...
Well, exactly.
Position.
And they sent me that book cover as an author. I don't get the rights to design it, but they sent it to me, And I said, oh no, we have to put a 12-year-old girl on the cover because that's the age that dads fear. A little 3-year-old girl like this wants to be with dad. We'll hug dad, and dad appreciates that. And they jump on your lap and they kiss you and they go send you away. I can do that. And then, 3-year-olds, you just make a few minutes and do sidewalk chalk in the driveway. But then later on, it gets a little tougher. And at that age 12, 11, 12, 13, whatever it is, she's turning into a young woman. And she's trying to figure out who she is, who's her relationship with her dad and other boys, all that kind of thing. And so for a while, dads are scared of that moment. And little girls, and I can confirm this with lots of dads, a little girl will sit in her daddy's lap, but when she's about 11 or 12, a lot of them stop doing that. And dads at that point sometimes go, well then, forget you. If you're going to take a step back from me, I'm not going to be in your life, or I'm scared. I don't know how. I don't know how to talk about girly things, all the stuff, the physical changes. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to take a step back. Dad, step back, and they need to do the opposite. They need to take, when she steps back, take a step further toward her, not to be oppressive, but just to figure out. You got to be creative and to enter her world. What's important to her? Oh, son of a gun! I went on Google and I got tickets to do the horseback riding. For some reason, I just bought these, sweetheart. Do you think your 13-year-old daughter's going to want to use that, that Groupon or whatever it was that you got? So be creative. If your 14-year-old's down in the basement doing a group study project with her high school friends for some class, just walk downstairs with a pizza and some Mountain Dew. Hey, sweetheart, how you guys doing? I just want to say hi, good luck to you, and then leave. We have to figure out how to dance into our daughter's world as dads and be creative. A cute little girl in the book. And you know what? Yes, we're afraid of when our daughters are 12, but our daughters will always be our little girl.
That's right. That's
always.
Right. Exactly. And our dads will always be our daddies.
And I embrace that. I challenge every one of you viewers to do the same thing, to be the daddy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it takes a lot more to be a daddy. It does. Yeah. And you have a lot of ways that fathers can do that. Why don't you talk about the difference between moms and dads in their daughters' lives?
Well, you know what? You don't want to put anybody in a box, because every kid is different, every mom and dad are different. But I think in general, dads have a better chance at letting their daughters form her worldview properly. Moms, in the home, moms kind of running the show, being busy and doing what it takes to keep the house together. And whether she works or not outside of the home, that still ends up being her role, certainly. When a mom does homework with the daughter, her goal is to get through it as efficiently as possible. When a dad does homework with his daughter, and lots of different interactions, but let's say homework, if there's a science or history or math project, the dad is going to maybe talk about that geography, that thing that has something to do with world history and how that fits in and how God made this and how the design and the creator and the founding of our country, all those kind of good things. And suddenly homework takes twice as long to do, but dad has influenced the daughter's worldview. I think, again, more than moms a little bit. Having said that, also, of course, every interaction with dad, especially at a certain age, that daughter is going, oh, that's what I kind of want in a husband. Or that's what I don't want in a husband. Could be the case, too, sometimes, of course. She might not be thinking that out loud, but it's way in the recesses, so dad is modeling right behavior for dates and for all future.
Well, how does the way a father and daughter interact reflect, influence their self-esteem and their opinion, their idea of who they are? Because
of that idea, and we said the idea of a guy looking in the mirror, he thinks he's handsome, and the girl always thinks she's not living up to the standards.
But you look at the flaws. Yeah, you look at the flaws.
And again, I think it's back to that influence that dads can have on their kids, and I think dads. Matthew 25, I think it is, that great scene where those imbecile disciples are going. Jesus says, when you visited me in prison or fed me or gave me to drink, and of course the disciples go, well, when did we do that? We don't know when we did that. And Jesus says, guys, when you did this for the least of these, when you visited, and we can do the same thing, I think, with our daughters, Dad. When you see your daughter, being nice to her little brother, or being compassionate to a stranger, or just interacting with a friend just in a godly way. That's one reason to be in her life, so you can see that. You need to be around that. Mm-hmm. But your daughter, when she looks in the mirror, she doesn't like what she sees. Mm-hmm. She needs to see Jesus in that mirror. Mm-hmm. She needs to see Jesus in her life, and so when she looks there, she goes, I am worth Jesus. Yeah. So suddenly, that whole self-esteem issue, it's not going to magically go away, but that'll take a big chunk of that out of there. If she goes in there and sees something that's worthless, she's there's all kinds of things, and I don't want to go too far down that road because of the decisions she could make and the choices she could make, trying to make herself feel good about herself, chasing the wrong guy, chasing the wrong things, and but if she looks in the mirror and sees Jesus, which I think that's biblical, I think that's pretty accurate. That's who we're supposed to see. We're supposed to see Him reflected in our lives,
conforming us into the image of His Son.
There you go. There you go.
Exactly.
Thank you. That'll go a long way towards a lot of the self-image crud that so many girls go through.
They need to be getting a Jesus image, the more that He grows them in their relationship with Him, the more they will look like Him. And the dads, it really would help if the dads, as you were saying, as they see them interact with people, point out, how they see them growing. I got to say
this, Jeanne, I'm enjoying our conversation, but we're getting maybe too heavy and too spiritual. This book is a riot. There's stuff in here that you'll laugh at, and because it's 52 chapters, and they're short, and they make a point and they get off there. Some are pretty deep, and they have some spiritual truths in them, but most of them are just like how to prepare your daughter for life and how to have fun with her, how to interact with her, be creative ways to get along with her, how to date your daughter, how to embarrass her once in a while. I think dads should embarrass their daughter. Wear white ankle socks up to your knees with your sandals. I think that's really good because if you're tell me when to be quiet, Jeanne. I will. When your daughter's got your teenage daughter's got 3 or 4 friends over. Hey, we're going to the movie, Dad. Okay, what are you going to see? What movie are you going to see? And who's paying for it? And you should come right and be home by this time. And she's going to go, oh, Dad. And she's going to walk out that door. And she'll say something like, oh, my dad, he's so overprotective. He's so worried about me. And if there's 4 girls, one of them will say, yeah, my dad's the same way. One of them is going to say, my dad doesn't care at all about who I am. And one of them's going to say, I haven't seen my dad in 8 years. What are you talking about? So you understand how critical that is, that you embarrass your daughter. So, Dad, if you're not embarrassing your daughter every once in a while, then you're not working hard enough. Right? So again, having some fun. 52 things daughters need from their dads. And I am no expert. I am just a beggar who found bread that fed me and fed my family, trying to show other beggars, dads, desperate dads, just who are loving our family and trying to do the best we can for our daughters and for our wives and for our sons and for future generations. I'm a grandfather, by the way. Yeah, a month and a half ago, grandson.
Wonderful.
So the Payleitner name lives on.
Yay, cool.
Yeah.
So how can a father help his daughter learn modesty and the importance of it?
Well, now we're getting serious again, but that's okay. That's really okay. A friend of mine, a dear friend, when his daughter was 13, he had a confrontation with her. Now, he had spent 13 years pouring into her life love and the idea of modesty and sexual purity and the inner beauty kind of thing, and had these conversations. But he had never talked to his daughter specifically about the length of blue jean shorts. So it's a nice spring day. 13-year-old girl, lovely child, comes down the stairs, heading out the door to jump on the school bus, and he has the courage to say, sweetheart, I can't let you go to school like that. Your shorts are too short. Okay, here's the quiz. If I ask a room full of dads that, or what did that daughter do? What do you think that daughter did?
Well, I read it in the book.
Okay.
So
well,
I kind of would be cheating if I said.
Well, thank you. She went to school. Because in that moment, she's making a decision. Wait a second, I'm going to school. I think I look fine. I haven't really processed the whole thing. I'm not going to make any bad decisions today, so I'm going to school. And Dad loves me, so it'll work out. So that's kind of the quick, boom, you're making these decisions. But of course, when she heads out the door, that Dad is stunned there thinking, I've let down my daughter. I've let down God. I've let down my family. I've even let down the boys that my daughter's going to interact with later on today. I've damaged the kingdom even. That's what he's thinking for a while there. And he processes it for a while. And this my friend's telling me this story. That night, of course, she comes home and it's a little frosty in the air. They don't even talk that night. And they're both kind of trying to figure it out. And a couple days later, at dinner table, pass the salt, and so the communication opens up again. And they bedtime prayers and what's on TV. But two critical things happened after that. That little girl never wore those shorts again. That was the decision she made. Her dad didn't make the decision. She made that decision. And even more amazingly, a little yellow sticky note, a little Post-it note, showed up on her bedroom mirror, her full-length bedroom mirror, that she'd written in her own hand. It said, "Does what you see honor God?"
Perfect.
Now that's a decision she made. So it was a combination of the dad pouring into his daughters, building a relationship, speaking truth. If he would have grabbed her and said, "You get upstairs, young lady, and put something decent on," she might have done that. But he would have lost the opportunity, would have pushed her away. And so, dads, we got to be careful about the ultimatums. We got to speak truth. You have to earn the right to speak truth, and then go from there. And you know what? One more thought on that. If you're the clothes police, and she's got a tank top on, you can't go to school like that. Well, she'll go upstairs and put a bulky sweater on. And then what happens when she gets to school? She takes the sweater off. And so that's just, again, you're setting yourself up for failure, Dad. What you got to do is set yourself up for conversations that build trust, and let her make her own decisions, because 30 years ago you could raise a kid and probably protect her from most of the crud that's out there. You really could, if you really worked harder. If that was job one. Movies and where she goes and who she sees, and now with the internet and what the culture's doing, you can't protect your daughter except by equipping her to make the choices herself. And that's, again, getting too serious here.
No,
because this is a book you could give. This is a book you could give to dads who aren't, don't go to church every week. You could give this, if a mom gave this book to her son-in-law who has a daughter, a granddaughter, he's going to go, "Oh, thanks," and read it. And it's a fun, light read that happens to have some spiritual truths. And maybe the Gospel's in there too, but I won't tell you what chapter that is.
Well, you also have another book that's come out, 52 Things Husbands Need from Their Wives.
52 Things Husbands Need from Their Wives. So it's a book for gals.
Yeah,
can I say gals? Can I say gals? Is that okay?
It's okay with me.
Okay.
What wives can do to build a stronger marriage.
Yeah. All my books, really, most of my books have been targeted towards men, dads, as husbands, devotions for dads, books like that. And that's, you can see that on my website, fathers52.com. Fathers52.com is my website. And you'll see that I write books for dads. This is my first book for women. And I'm not sure how it's going to do. Because with men, I can come up to them and say, "Hey, come on, bud, you know what your wife needs. Come on, be there for your son. Go to your son's, why are you going golfing? Go to your son's baseball game, for crying out loud. That's what to make the right decision. Dad, come on, buddy, you know what to do. You know how to do that." But I can't come up to a woman and say, "Come on, sweetheart, you know what your husband needs." But I sort of do that, trying to apologize. Say, "Listen, here's what I think. I'm not, and it's. I'm very interested to see how this book does, because I may be the next best thing for women's, groups, because I'm just this is how a guy thinks, and we don't need. We need kisses. But you know what? It's not as terrible as, we're not as terrible and as lecherous as some gals think we are. Some women think we are. So that's kind of my nutshell story there. And by the way, nagging doesn't work. We don't want you to nag. You don't want to nag. Why do they nag? Why? It does work anyways. That would be one of my other takeaways.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you coming and being our guest.
Jeanne, thank you.
Yeah, and I hope especially that dads will take this to heart and be there for their daughters.
Yeah,
So,
me too. Thanks so much.
Thanks for writing that book.
Take care.